What's up, everybody? It's been a couple of weeks since we played, just because it kind of happens like that sometimes. It's been a bit of a weird couple of weeks here. Hannah and I have both been trying to quit, so right now Poontoken has kind of been just waiting around for that next meeting with the Council of 12, and that's coming soon, so don't you fret. In between there, I of course have been going on a rampage of stuff buying, because I love everything with this. I do have an issue with constantly not collecting things. I don't like to collect movies, I don't like to collect other things, but when it comes to D&D, it's a good way to feel inspired to just buy new shit. So, one of my latest purchases was Grimtooths Ultimate Traps Collection. And so those unfamiliar, or those new to the game or the hobby in total, Grimtooth was a third-party book that came out just back in the times of old school AD&D, second edition, all that fun shit where just a couple of numbers counts as an entire player backstory. And these are deadly dungeon traps, which it's not a dungeon design book. That's for damn sure. This is the death of 1,000. I opened up to room. This is the full collection, by the way. It's on Amazon. Great book, $30, $34.95, I think, Prime. Excellent collection for anybody who wants all of them. They are available in smaller soft covers, but those are kind of harder and harder to find. I found Traps 2, which is the blue cover. That was the second, obviously their second publication, and it's kind of small. This is done by Flying Buffalo Incorporated, yeah. But either case, that was their second publication, and I just happened to find it. I found Traps 2 at the flea market for $1, and that was a steal. So, I mean, this is a great collected version, over 500 pages, or right damn near 500 pages, a good amount of history of Grimtooths, but they've got room traps, they've got item traps, and door traps, more stuff. Silly little comics in between. Real fun. Anyway, so the death of 1,000 slices, a room dangerously positioned cutlery, super obvious trap. It's meant to be that way. As soon as the adventurers, if you can see it here, it's a room of knives. Just a room of knives. And this kind of stuff reminds me of Tomb of Horrors, the old stories of competition play at Gen Con stuff and tournament play, shit like that, where you just want to go roll some dice and hope you make it to the end. Some of this stuff is absurd. So it's not really well usable, in my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan of traps, especially when it comes to traps and puzzles are hard to convey, especially when it comes to theater of mind play. Or, I mean, I know DM Scotty did a couple of pit traps, and there were a couple other crafting channels that did craft pit traps that were neat. Black Magic Craft, I think he did a pit trap too. Actually, yes, he did. He did one with, it had epoxy in the bottom and plant life. So it was neat. It was actually living. But the issue is that it's a lot of time and a lot of effort, and if you have somebody that can detect traps in your party rogue, you're done. No, that's where it is. Or, yes, there is a trap in here, etc. So this kind of old, run it and gun it sort of play, where you're looking at nothing but a dungeon, no story, no reason, the adventure is just the dungeon crawl, which there's nothing wrong with that. These are great for one-shots. These are great for just a dungeon crawl on a Friday night with all your friends. these are excellent for that. But my issue is that as somebody I'm developing Geardan as a long-running campaign. I'm developing more and more of the world building every day. It's more of a mental project at this point where I like to just keep going and keep rolling dice on random tables to see what else happens. And everything that's happened with Poontoken has been, yes, the first adventure, I will agree, was definitely on the rails and kind of, hey, we need to figure out where we're going. And all I know is where it starts. So let's get through this and see where it goes. And Hannah took it a lot of different places that I really had no expectation of. So either case, I mean, these are great for puzzle dungeons. Puzzle dungeons are super fun as long as they're the only thing. As long as you can walk in with that perception in advance. You roll up a throwaway character, you run one off a wizard's whatever the hell that thing is for wizards. I don't use it. But like, yeah, somebody runs a character creation, and there you go. It's just a big old puzzle, and weird stuff happens, and yeah, it's great. Things like that are great, but these kind of things are, to me, and the way that I think is more, they're a great way to put in, use the methods of the trap as some other way of working with, so let's go through this trap. All right, this is the first one. This is the infamous wheel trap. This is out of the first book that Grimtooths did. This is a great one. It's pretty simplistic. Okay. All right, trapped. This one works in a room. Blah blah blah. So yeah. All right. So you're in a dungeon. Your players are in a dungeon. You've walked them through a hallway. Set that guy up there. All right. So your players have walked to a door. They have gotten to a door. They are at a door. Here's the door. They step through the door. Right? Whether they pick the lock, they do whatever it takes to get through that door. When they get through that door, line snaps, a counterbalance falls, whatever it does. But that door is locked behind them. Locked and impassable. That's the point of it. It is impassable. Oh, wrong way. Oh, I'm dumb. Can't write upside down. Impasse. Impasse is the motivator, right? So your players. So the players walk through this door. As all four get through there, I'm sure there's some reason that they all shuffle through the door, all together. And they jam through the door, and then suddenly a rock panel slides in place where the door was. Okay? These, over yon, these, and these are barrels. Not just any barrels. Dope wooden barrels that look great in dungeons. So these are barrels, these are barrels. These are double, triple, quadruple stacked, whatever you need them to be for the height of the hallway, right? So there is a fire truck behind me. Weird. So in either case, whether this is a 6 foot or 9 foot corridor, whatever height you made this hallway, the dungeon, these barrels are impassable. Or, if you want to give your players a chance, maybe a super high way to pass it. In either case, when your players walk through the door, they look up. What they see is an incline. Right? This is going up. And up here is a large metal cylinder with spikes all over it in rows, covered in blood and gore from previous adventure parties. Great. Dungeony. Super dungeony. Right? So, what happens is, as they take the first step into the room. They get in. Right? Another round passes. They decide what they're going to do. You explain the room to them. It seems like there's nowhere to go on your left or your right. There is a channel in front of you that looks maybe a foot deep, maybe 2 feet deep, just enough that your adventure party could lay down in the channel and get past this cylinder, this rolling cylinder. Because after the discovery is made, this thing starts moving. This giant metal thing starts to move, heading towards the players. So, why? No. That's the issue. Why is there a fucking trap here? What's it protecting? Okay? Anyway. Also, if there's blood and gore and bits that are dried and old on the cylinder, then you have to explain how this thing gets reset. Obviously. Whatever. We'll get to that. Don't worry. That's a later part. So anyway, you, the DM, you have to decide how many rounds of action the players have before this thing just careens down and slams into the wall. So, D6, they got 1 round. They have to decide now. Okay? So, this party is Halfling Thief. Duh. Half-Elf Rogue. Whatever. Human Barbarian. And, the fucking Minotaur fighter. Right? So, small, tiny, actually. Tiny. We'll give him a T right there. Tiny. Small. Large. Medium. Large. And fucking large. Okay. So they have 1 round to decide. You give them 2 minutes. You let them bicker around and say, what are we going to do? All right. So the Minotaur looks at you and he says, I'm going to bust through these barrels. I'm going to charge. I'm going to charge this wall of barrels and move past them. You've already set the barrel DC at, this is a difficulty room. This room is best set as a difficulty, right? So let's say that the logical way to get out of this is, the logical, obvious way is this channel, right? And the DC check against this channel in time, no matter how many, I rolled a D6 because I have a tube full of dice, and I couldn't find the D4s without making a shitload of noise and irritating myself. So I didn't. I just grabbed a D6. Happened to roll a 1, right? So let's say out of 4, up to 4 rounds. All right. So they have up to 4 rounds to get what number? Well, how much of a dick are you feeling like? Really? So let's say it's an 18 DC. You see why I'm bored with traps already. They're fucking annoying. Anyway, so to get this trench, 18 DC, right? So these barrels, side piece, because these walls, there's nowhere for them to go. There's nothing behind the barrels. You know that as the DM. Whatever. So the Minotaur is the adamant. Your adamant, bloodthirsty player wants to break some shit. Cool. Let him make it tough. So let's give the barrels a 24 DC, because random assumption, what we're going to do is that Minotaur, that player who wants to break through the barrels is going to have to make an attack. Basic attack. It's usually a plus, it's probably going to be a +2, plus maybe 4 or 6, depending. So we'll say it's a +6, right? To bust through those barrels. Minotaur fella, right? He, half a tour. Minotaur fella, he wants to break through the barrels. You say, go ahead, do it now. No, not on the table. Doesn't count. So Minotaur fella, you know that DC. He doesn't know that DC. Alright, so he makes basic attack plus 6. So a 19 plus 6. Okay? Wow. Random happenstance. He makes it. He bursts through these barrels. Right? Alright? Rawr. He happens to make it. So he breaks through the barrels. He goes first. It's up to you whether you want to roll initiative or not. Honestly, at this point, initiative should be conversational. If you have 3 players that like to hem and haw and consider what they do before they actually do it, and they spend more time considering it before they act, if you have 1 player that likes to act first, let them. Just let them. And it makes the most sense that way. So he does that. You describe it with a boil in your blood. You rage and push through those triple air barrels, and you manage to pass through. What you see on the other side is blank walls and open floor, but no exit. So if your other players are bickering, let them. And they miss that, let them. Either way, so human barbarian, large man, this trench is 2 feet deep. Yeah, he's got plenty of room. He can take a dive. So he takes a dive, right? Athletics check. Give him an athletics check plus 3 because that's plus whatever their stats are, right? So human barbarian misses it. Funny enough. So human barbarian rolls a 3 for a dive into this channel. Whatever. Come back to that. Give that a second. Give that a second to breeze through. So half elf ranger, whatever. Just for conversation's sake, he sees what the Minotaur did and says, "I want to dash to the same place the Minotaur did." Okay. You tell the elf that he's going to need to make a DC check of, he's going to have to beat a 20 DC with an athletics check because, there we go. Because the barrels are not just magically out of the way. They're still there. It's difficult terrain. Okay? Difficult terrain. 12. He's a wispy elf. He makes it. Fuck it. He makes it. Alright? Magical imaginary characters. Level 5, who knows? Whatever. This is just for example. Okay? So your halfling, he wants to dive into the channel. He makes a 10, but since he's a halfling and he's so tiny, this DC is still a little much for him because he's going to have an easy time diving into that channel to avoid getting crushed. So he makes it. Let's just say for this moment, he makes it just for the situation, because why wouldn't he? That's ridiculous. So you have the human barbarian, right? They miss the check. And this thing's starting to careen. It is already halfway by the time that everyone has made their rolls. It is already halfway. It's hit its terminal velocity of 48 miles per hour. Because, indeed, it only takes... What is it? Humans is our critical velocity, our fatal velocity is like 123 miles an hour. That's the fastest we can get. That's the fastest we can go. I went skydiving once. That's the fastest we can go. It takes us 6 seconds of free fall to get there. That's it. It's got a big heavy metal thing. So this guy, we're going to come back to human barbarian now that everyone else has acted, and we're going to say, okay, human barbarian, you missed the check. What are we feeling like that night? Are we feeling Temple of Doom? No, not Temple of Khazad-dûm either. Are we feeling Temple of Elemental Evil insane? Are we feeling fucking Halls of Undermountain crazy? Is it a one shot? Was this just a meat grinder? Is this just a meat grinder one shot, or is this something you threw in way too early in the night, and all of a sudden you're about to have a dead player, and it's only 35 minutes in? Well, so what we do is this. Now, what I would do in this situation is this, okay? He rolled super low, just a 3. So he got a 3, plus his bonuses, which we'll say are 6, was plus 6 5 level for athletics. So that's a 9 out of 18. I was halfway there. All right. Now, me personally, depending on the situation, especially if it's early in the dungeon, or it's early in the night, or the mood just doesn't, you just don't feel like letting a character get squished to death, because that's all that's gonna happen. Squished to death, right? So personally, I would let him hit the trench, but I would say he's gonna take, I don't know how much damage as the thing rolls over him, right? As this thing rolls, it's gonna hit him. Not a fatal one shot, one stroke, one kill. Not that kind of insanity. What we're gonna do is this. Is he gonna take? There's not even anything in the book for it. Where's my D6? It's white. There we go. So, whatever. Barbarian's got 54 HP, and we need some way to punish him for missing the roll. Not punish, but we need a reaction for missing the roll to make sure that players know this is a deadly dungeon and it's just a silly thing for one night, and I don't want to kill all my friends. I just want to have a little bit of fun. So they're gonna take whatever. Have fun with it. Have more fun with it than just, oh, you take 35 damage as the 40-ton metal thing rolls over you, crushing your arm. Do something more than that. Leave that crushed arm. Say you take 22 damage, right? Whatever, damage is up to you. You take X amount of damage, and your non-dominant arm, 2-weapon fighter, even still, your non-dominant arm doesn't make it into the trench fast enough and shatters your forearm in 15 places to the point where below your elbow, your hand is nothing but mush. You black out in pain. And then let whoever's going to heal your party member do their thing from there. So, as this thing rolls, over. It's going from here. After that single round, it's going from here to here. It's smashed into this fucking wall, right? And there is just enough room back here. I'm giving this, and this is out of Grimtooths. I'm giving this way more than it's got in that book. They did a great job, though. I'm not disparaging them or their wonderful work in any way. I'm saying that modern times 5e, unless you're playing a deadly dungeon crawl just for the sake of doing it, it doesn't really have much merit in 5e apart from being one of the greatest DM tools. It's an amazing DM tool. Genuinely, I will say that. It is a wonderful DM tool that I highly recommend you buy if you are a dungeon master. So, in either case, what's going to happen here is, so now we got this big old thing. It's smashed against the wall, smashed up these barrels that were laying here after the Minotaur barreled through them, pushed his way through them, and to safety. The half elf is over there with them. With the Minotaur, they're doing great. They're safe. They could take splash damage from barrel pieces, etc. Something low, 1d6. They could take 3 points of damage from splinters flying through the air as the log careens the giant round death log careens past the area, and that's that. They take that splash damage, and there is just enough room from the edge for them to come up here now and rejoin the rest of the party. You could also go as far as to make this 1d4 worth of damage passing through this little cravat, the small area between the wall and the death log. And the human barbarian that missed his roll now has a spaghetti arm, right? So Mr. Spaghetti Arm, he can heal, but he's still got a spaghetti arm. So do something uncomfortably fun with it, like, all right, you're half elf rogue in this situation, comes up and says, I can heal you. Somebody with fire, please light a torch. Let me use this blade to sear through the flesh, right? I will remove your left hand and forearm so that you aren't just carrying around the dead weight, and let him just Chuck Norris the shit out of the situation and remove the arm, and suddenly your human barbarian has one good fighting hand, half an arm. Chicken wing. That's great. That is an excess for a fucking dungeon trap. Why would any DM that is not being in any situation, if I were to bring this situation, this specific trap, into Gyrdan in a point where I'm motivated more by story. Hannah as Poontoken really enjoys the story, so I keep going with the story more than anything else because I think it's more fun that way. She enjoys it. It's a good player-DM relationship that we have going on because it's just, we both get to see this thing grow in a way that I'm continually surprised by, and still get to keep it fun. My question to DMs out there is, why would you bring that in? Why would you bring something like this into a campaign that is still youthful, is still young, is still in development, is still building? Why would there be need bringing something this deadly? That, you know, if you really wanted to, this human barbarian could have missed the roll. He's dead. That's it. He's dead. Yank his character sheet, paste it to the wall. The end for him. We'll see you again next time we hit a tavern in town. To me, personally, that's not my jam. I get it if it is. I totally get it if that's what you're into, but this is what Grimtooths will give you. Genuine here. This is exactly how to mechanically do this. This is, fuck it, everybody's dead, right? So out of four players, 2 players missed, although the halfling got it. The halfling got it because of just the situation of him being a tiny little fella, etc. So let's do this. All right. Let's do this. So you see the problem of this trap. You see what this trap is trying to give you in a dungeon, right? What this trap is trying to give the players is the goddamn need to act. The need. The need to act. So, in that situation, obviously, is a funhouse dungeon, just silly shit like that's going to happen. You have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. So what mechanic can we take from that trap and apply to an NPC, a villain, What can we do to ensure that the players are confronted with something that is, all right, they're confronted with something somewhere in the story. There is somewhere in the story there is an orc encampment in a place where orcs are friendly-ish and reasonable, and there's a new tyrant in power, and the tyrant in power is the Death Log, right? He's gonna do whatever he wants to do, no matter what the characters want, no matter what the NPCs want, no matter what the story wants. This tyrant will do exactly what he wishes to do. Okay? He is the Death Log. So, he is tyrannical, he is coming in to eradicate, he has sent forces to eradicate this orc encampment that has gotten along with the outer edges of the city wall just fine. They live on the edge of the forest. These are not orcs in the sense where they're just camped in and every day they're cutting down trees so that their camp gets bigger, and their camp gets bigger, and they're just using all the resources and doing everything that they can to destroy the area. No, they're happy, content, and living. They are there are some half orcs in the camp that are a word I can't remember right this very second, but they're representative of the camp. They come in, they work out bartering. They work out bartering with local merchants, with district managers. Good lord, no, not that. With the Council of 12. They come in and they work out deals with them. Hey, we found this resource in the mine. We found a vein of this. What can we get for it? What can we do for you? They have a very good relationship. The problem is the new tyrant is growing in power. He's already above the Council of 12, so he kind of already does what he wants to do, although the Council of 12 are still sympathetic to the cause of the people, all species, of the land. But the tyrant couldn't give a shit. He has his own predetermined ideas, and he's gonna destroy this camp. He's going to send his guards out to he's going to send his blackguard out to eradicate the camp in entirety, although the camp has found some mineral that the town can use deep in their mine that is more important than whatever misogynistic, fucking racist values this tyrant could have. If the tyrant doesn't see it that way, he couldn't give a shit. It's his way or the highway, etc. So the players find out about this. So the only way to stop the Death Log in this situation is to destroy the Death Log. It's to find a way through. But this trap has given us the idea as a DM that get out of the way for the moment, because the log does have to stop at some point and be reset. And that time that it's getting reset, because it's down here against the wall, you know, Death Log again, Death Log, dope. Well, in this time, when the Minotaur and the half elf are passing through that little spot, they see that, oh, it's on metal chains, it's on metal wires that seem to be pulled by a counterbalance that is deep below the dungeon, and since it's pulled up, now that balance is going to start cranking it back and back and back and back and back into place where it latches. And as that log comes back, that wooden or that rock wall slides back up, the door regains its place. There is an exit up here, by the way. But in either case, well, now that it's already done its terror, here's a way to stop it from happening again. We find a way to destroy the reset mechanism. In the DM sense, maybe we gotta let him attack. And we can't act until he attacks because of legalistic issues with we might be adventurers, but we're not murder hobos. We need to be sanctioned by the town. We need to do cool shit the right way and ensure that we can do shit the right way. It's just one of those things. So, highly recommend Grimtooths Trap Collection as a DM tool for everybody. It's fantastic. They are ridiculous in most situations. They are excessive and murderous and unnecessary. And that's just not my type of that's just not my type of Dungeons and Dragons every day. If I were to have a campaign, I would not just idly throw them in there, buzzsaws and pits full of blades and swinging giant things like that. I will say, on the other hand, it is an excellent resource. It's all about, I mean, this hobby is all about finding resources to use and fuel other ideas with, and that's a great one. Take every one of those traps, figure out how it works, why it works, and what its intention is, and then apply that to an NPC. Apply that to a PC. Figure out how to get your players to engage more in an unknowing mechanical sense, so that they're doing the things that they're doing. They don't know why they're doing them, but they are doing them for great reasons, and they see why now, etc. Fun stuff like that. That's just how I think. Yeah, absolutely an excellent book. Wonderful that they finally have it all. It's been out for a while. I know that I'm way late in the game. Way late in the game. It's okay. I'm catching back up. You leave me alone. Anyway, so Grimtooths Trap Collection. Super fun for dungeon crawls. Excessive for any other thing than just a great DM resource for how to use traps and all that kind of stuff. I cannot remember the specific name of it off the top of my head. I will say that there are some great crafters and DMs out there that do newer traps that are highly useful, extremely adaptable, and worthwhile to add to anything, to any system that you're playing, to any edition that you're playing, to whether it be a one-shot or a campaign. There are Wylock's Armory he used to do, it was something of Jalinda. There is a time puzzle that he did. It was that I can't remember exactly the name of. I'll probably put a link to it in the description. But it was just, he wrote either as a one shot or a small module, but it's something that you could take and put into a game of your own with just different characters and fun stuff. Or at the convention that everyone just attended from DM's Guild, or Crafters Guild, DM's Craft Guild, whatever. It's some group on Facebook. It's a group on Facebook with Wylock's Armory, all the new DM Scotty, all the great stuff, all the great people that craft and do fun stuff with the hobby. In either case, Wylock did a crystal. It was a crystal puzzle with some crystals and a high thing. Fun stuff. Fun stuff that is easy to adapt to whatever it is you're doing. So, Grimtooths, go buy it. Do it. I dare you. You'll like it. If you're a DM, if you're stuck in a spot where sometimes there's, especially with personal development, when you're working on your own home campaign, there's a time that comes when you're going to need a nice resource like this to really break the logic of you writing a story. Where do I want the players to go? I want them to go here for X reason. How do I get them there? Well, and there you go, you run off on a short story plot, and all of a sudden you're writing a novella when you could have just opened up Grimtooths, figured out why a trap works, how a trap works, the Athenian Stadium something. That's one of my more fun. I love the art, by the way. The art is one of my favorite. I like that old school line art kind of stuff. It's fucking phenomenal. So, Either case, I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run the same trap with Hannah later tonight after work, after she's done work, and we're gonna run through it. And I want to see. I want to see her opinion on it as implemented, and she's gonna do it as a side thing to do. So I'll add that as an addendum, and I'll probably break this video up into two because I know that at least one episode of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell has passed in this already, so I know I've been talking a little too long, and that's fine with me. So, either case,